Hi, my name is Masooma Tamim, and I'm a Reiki practitioner. I am trained in Usui Reiki, which is one form of Reiki. Okay. My family's from Afghanistan. We immigrated to America in the late 80s. I have 6 siblings, all brothers. I'm the only girl. I grew up in an Afghan Muslim family, and we've lived in America for now 30 years. Spirituality. I grew up as a Muslim, but most recently I've been exploring spirituality on a deeper level, which is probably how it led me to finding Reiki as well. Let's see. I'm not super religious, but right now it's the holy month of Ramadan and I do fast. I observe certain bits and pieces of both religion and culture that I adore. I'm not, full religious, but there are parts of the culture and the religion that I appreciate and I preserve. A few years ago, I went through a dark time. My 14-year marriage ended, and it was kind of a surprise for me, and so naturally, it put me into grief, and just processing that, I started looking at different ways to heal myself, to make peace with it. And in my explorations, I found Reiki, and later on I decided to become a Reiki practitioner because I found so much healing in it and it spoke to me. I pretty much gauge who needs what. For example, I typically do Reiki on my children and my family and friends. I do trades. I volunteer my time for classes. For example, tomorrow one of my Reiki master friends is actually teaching Reiki 1 and I'll be assisting her for the weekend. I don't practice Reiki as a business yet. I'm currently managing my family business, and between that, being a single mom, taking care of my senior parents, I have quite a lot on my plate typically, but I do try to make time for Reiki, volunteering my time, like I said, and just going to Reiki circles because it gives me a lot of peace and joy. I have not done Reiki on animals yet, but I do Reiki on my plants. I have quite a big collection in my living room, and every Sunday morning, that's part of my ritual. On my bigger plants, I usually turn on my Reiki light and I go over add Reiki energy over the plant. For the smaller ones, I actually, where I water it, I turn on my Reiki light and I have water running from my hand into the plant. So for example, if I'm watering my plant and giving a Reiki, I have the water running on my hand into the plant. And then there's one more way to do to give Reiki to plants. I actually have some crystals that I charge, and they look like this. There's different kinds. So I usually infuse the crystals with Reiki, and I place the crystals into my different plants, and this energy gets transferred to them over time. So I try to re-energize every couple of weeks or a month. Ooh, this is fun. So I realized I've been doing Reiki all my life and I didn't know what it was called. For example, my mom has knee pain and back pain and all kinds of pain, right? So whenever she would be in pain, I would always take whatever ointment, and I would envision like being connected to God, source, and also to Mother Earth, and I would bring in energy from both sides, and I would envision that light, that energy transferring from my hand to her knee or to her back or whatever. And I've naturally been doing this for however long, and then it's like some people, I touch them, or they're like, okay, my shoulder hurts, and I touch them, and I guess it's been part of me all my life, and I didn't know what it was called, you know, like I didn't have a term for it. In Reiki 1, the first thing that we're taught is the Reiki principles, and I actually have it printed and sitting right here, so I'm going to show you.
Excellent.
So every day, in the morning and at night, as many times as you like, you can say this. It says, just for today, because we're trying to bring emphasis on living in the moment, living in the now, right? Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not be angry. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Just for today, I will be grateful for my many blessings. Just for today, I'll be kind to all living things. And it covers pretty much every aspect of life, if you can think about it. And it brings you to a good energy. So like when you walk out of your house, you're already programmed yourself to live in positivity. So that's why I love this. This I have this next to my bed. I have one at work, and I have one in my Reiki room. What has Reiki? It has given me a lot of inner peace. So I was emotionally quite flustered for some time, processing all kinds of trauma, and when I decided to take responsibility for my own well-being, and I wanted to divorce victim mentality and step into my power, I decided that I'm going to take whatever it takes to feel better, and Reiki has helped me do that in finding inner peace. So I program myself through both hypnosis and practicing Reiki morning and night, whether I send distance healing, you know, like I give back as much as possible to whoever needs it. Sometimes my friends say, hey, I'm not doing so well, can you send me Reiki? Of course, I would love to send you Reiki, you know. It makes me feel great doing something for someone, and it's not like I'm going out of my way, you know, like it's just a prayer, it's just this intention that you send well wishes to someone. Yes, as long as you know their name and their location, you can send distance healing to anyone. It takes about 10-15 minutes per session. If it's someone that you know, they usually tell you, this is what I would like to work on. And what we do when we do distance healing is we actually tap into their aura from afar, like we envision it, and we ask their higher self, and we connect our higher self to bring healing, like a bridge between me and whoever it is, and we send that energy with the intention. This is one of the symbols, and it helps me like remember all of the steps that we have to do in a healing session, even though I have everything memorized. But yeah, so the pendulum, usually we use it to check people's chakras and to see if they're open. There are 7 chakras in the body, starting with the crown and ending with the root. And we typically use this at the beginning of a session, and also at the end of a session, to see if someone's chakras are open, or if we want to ask, like if our client has certain questions that they want to ask their higher self. It's almost like doing a muscle test, but it also, you can program your own pendulum to tell you questions that you're wondering. Yeah. So typically, if you're doing muscle testing on yourself, you use 2 fingers and you hold them tight, and you think of something that empowers you. For example, I really love my niece. When I think of her, I feel really good, you know, like I feel feelings of love and I feel strong, right? It's a yes, or it's a positive feeling. And then And then if something is not good for you, or something you don't love, or you don't, like something that's not supposed to be for you, and you get weak, your muscles, like it's easy to open this, right? So let's say you muscle test yourself, and you want to know if this particular food is good for you. For example, eggplants, they're nightshades, right? They're not good for everyone. But you don't know that they taste good, but they're not good for your metabolic system, right? So you can muscle test yourself, and if it's weak, like if your fingers open easily, that means it's not good for you. You shouldn't be eating it because it's not good for your body. I've been obsessed with crystals. I have them everywhere. I charge my crystals, and each color or each stone represents something different. For example, most recently I got this necklace. It's called malachite, and it's for new beginnings. So I'm ready to let go of that which no longer serves me and step into a new path, whether it's a new career or a new project. It's just setting an intention. And same with this one. This one stays next to me, next to my bed, in case like ideas come to me. And I actually have an idea that I'm working on right now. So with the clients, the way we use it with clients is if one of their chakras is closed, we have crystals that are different colors, right? For example, the crown chakra is either purple or white. So if I have a crystal like a clear quartz or purple amethyst, for example, I can use this also to help open their chakras if I don't have other tools, but I have a ton of tools. The green one is associated with the heart chakra. So if someone's heart chakra is not open and I need some extra help, then I would probably place one of these over them and help open up that energy. I have been trained in Usui Reiki, which is one form of Reiki, and today I'll be demonstrating how to do Reiki on my teenage son. He's 13 years old, and we're going to start right now. Okay, so the first thing I do is ask my client to choose one of the Antakarana symbols that they're drawn to. Would you choose one, please?
This one.
Okay. And then I'm going to have him lay on the table so I can start my Reiki session. So go ahead. The first thing we do as a Reiki practitioner is turn on our Reiki light. We have a Reiki prayer that we recite, and then we put power symbols in the corners of the room to energize the room for the session for the client to receive what they need from this healing session. So that's what I'm going to do. Before we work on a client, we always ask them if they're diabetic. So if they are, we usually start with the feet, and we work our session reverse. And we also ask them if they're okay with touch. And in my experience, most people agree to being touched, and it's not anything bad. We just are able to put our hands directly on them as opposed to a little over them. Jawad, are you okay with my hands on you?
Yeah.
Yes. And then we also ask one more question. Would they like to work on something? Is there something that they would like work on? If they have emotional pain, they usually explain it, so we know what to do as a practitioner. If they have a physical pain, let's say their knee hurts and they're like, oh, I have this thing in my knee or my back, then we focus on that, because we have certain tools as a practitioner to pull out that negative energy out of their body and release it. Also, we ask the client to take some deep breaths and to calm down and to allow themselves to receive. It's really important that they set the intention of receiving this healing as we are demonstrating. So I would like you to set the intention to receive what you need from the session. You don't have to tell me out loud, but just have it in your mind. And also, I can't have you crossing your hands or your legs, so thank you. The way I have my table set up is with the feet facing the window, and it's because as I work on the client, I always open their foot chakras and like ask them to release through their feet. And when there's a window, I envision that like that negative gets released into the ethers and it gets purified. Okay, so I'm going to start now. The first thing in a session is putting the power symbols over their aura. We sweep their aura and we put a power symbol, and then I do the hand positions. So you can close your eyes. Would you take 5 deep breaths? In through your nose, out through your mouth. This is me sweeping their aura. So we're getting rid of whatever is not supposed to be in the aura so we can open it up for receiving healing. And when we start a session, I tap in, I ask for their higher self and their guides and angels to be here and for the client to receive exactly what they need from this session. Sometimes the client tells us, oh, this is what I want, but they actually might receive something that they actually need when their soul is ready for whatever transformation. Normally, when we ask the guides and their higher self, they step in and I'm just a vessel. My hands just serve as a vessel for transferring that healing energy into this person and what they need at that moment. Okay. So when we touch clients in a sensitive area, we usually put their hands first and then we put our hands over them so that they feel more comfortable. So for females, we put their hands over their breast. For males, usually in the lower regions, we just want them to feel comfortable that we're not touching them inappropriately, I guess. typically we don't take our hands off of the client so that they don't feel like, oh, what's going on. We usually keep touch and we go over to the other side, and then we continue. When we're done with our session, we usually use a pendulum to check the different chakras and make sure that they're all open. So I'm going to do that now. There are 7 chakras that we check. We start at the crown and we go down to the root. I have programmed my pendulum to my touch so that it tells me if it's a yes or no. So every time I go over a chakra and I have it over a chakra, I ask it, is this chakra open or closed? And based on the motion, I know if it's open or not. So right now the crown chakra was open. Third eye is open. Throat is open. Heart is open. Solar plexus is open. Sacral is closed. So I'm going to have to come back here. Root chakra is open. So when something is closed or congested, we have, well, the Reiki masters have a wand that's been programmed to our hand to open up the chakra. So I'm going to use my wand. Mine is an amethyst and it has one pointy side. So the sacral chakra is a second chakra. I'm going to check it again to see if it's been open yet. Yes, it is. Sometimes practitioners start with the pendulum to check the chakras. Sometimes I do that, but most times it's okay to just do it after the session, because after you've gone through the healing session, typically they're all open except for in this case, and then you just go back and you deal with that instead of checking in the beginning and checking at the end. That way you give more time for the client to feel the healing. Typically when a session is complete, I like to use my why can't I remember the name?
Keep going, just keep going.
Okay. When a session is complete, I like to use my tuning forks to tune their aura back. I have four of them. A lot of people have, other practitioners may have every single one, but I have the ones that I like to use. And in this case, I'm going to be using the crown chakra and the heart chakra. So the client usually loves this part because this vibration that they feel in their body, it feels like, you know, like something definitely happened. When it stops vibrating, that's when you take it off. The next thing I do is ground the client, because sometimes they fall asleep during a session, they astral travel or whatever happens during their session, and you want to bring them back.
Start that last part back over.
Sure.
Reach back over and then grab the last ones again. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. So you want me to start with?
No, the last one. You did the first one with the, and you was going to do a second set.
The grounding part.
The grounding
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
Yes,
Oh, okay,
great.
okay.
Yeah.
So, the next thing I like to do is ground the client, because sometimes they fall asleep or they astral travel during the session. So we want to bring them back to earth. And so I use my Om and my heart tuning forks to bring them back to earth. And this is how it's done. This goes on their feet. How do you feel?
Tickles.
And then one last tuning fork that I like to use is my love tuning fork. It's a frequency of 528, and I fill their aura with love before the end of the session, before I close up their aura. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close his aura back up now by, well, I can't tell you that word. Fluffing his aura. My session is complete. So at this point, I ask my client, I bring them back to reality by telling them to take 2 deep breaths and slowly close their eyes, open their eyes. So take a deep breath. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Our session is complete. I'm going to give you a glass of water, and I'd like you to tell me how was your experience during our session.